Son of a bitch.
I guess that sums it up. That was a piss poor performance all the way around. 4-1. I mean, the 6-on-5 isn't that bad, but come on, get some shots in the net. I don't, Falk is probably one of those that I thought had a decent game tonight. Didn't have a really bad game, but no one had a great game. No one had a good game. So, that's where name a player, and they probably had no puck control. You know what? And that's what gets me. When a team is that aggressive, usually they're going to make mistakes. And Dallas just did not seem to make any mistakes today. None at all. Well, we can't play heavy anymore, and that, and it looks like that, and it looks like that for a while. Couldn't keep it in the offensive zone at all either. Nope, couldn't. E is with us. Thank you, E. Todd, okay, he got a goal, but I don't put anybody as playing decent tonight. Got Lance with us. Ashley can't join us for the post game, so we'll truncate the post game a little bit, Lance. But I started off. I don't know if you've seen the beginning of the show, but I started off just putting the boo button. Right, that was a piss poor performance tonight.
It was unmotivated, uncaring. One shorthanded goal's bad enough. A second one really is a microcosm of how the team's playing in the game. Berube, in my mind, watching from period to period, I mean, maybe he made some adjustments I didn't see in their style of play, but I didn't see any adjustments. He continues to play defense first, defense first, defense first, defense first. Then we'll take our offensive opportunities. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. The players are held accountable here. There were several players I thought stood around a lot and looked like they were lost and either were skating on concrete or didn't know how to move out of the position they were in. It was not a good game overall by any means.
No, not a good game at all. And here's, first of all, I'm not going to get all over Chief for this one.
No.
But you're right. There were not a lot of adjustments in this game. And I get that because the last game you didn't have a lot of adjustments, but the game, Dallas came out fired up from the get-go. Dallas played better from opening whistle to final whistle. And that was obvious. And not only that, when you have the number 2 power play and you score, there's 3 goals scored on your power play, that's great, except when 2 of them are shorthanded against you, right? That was the aggressive. How do you let an aggressive penalty kill like that beat your number 2 power play? I don't get it.
It's a lot to do with guys being out of position and guys not where they're supposed to be. And when you're not supposed to be, those kind of breakdowns happen in a power play. Either if you notice on a couple of those instances, there was, and not just on the shorthanded goal, but several times throughout the game, there were 2 or 3 Blues guys on one Dallas player, and that left several guys open.
Yeah.
You can't do that. In a defensive scheme, no matter what type it is, you've got areas that are yours. And if a player comes in that area, you stick by him, you follow him to a certain point, and you let somebody else take that player over, then your assignment changes to a different player. So it looked like there was a disconnect, and it just was not a good game. And like I said, after the previous win, yeah, it's a great win, but the win means nothing if they come out and play bad against Dallas and lose 2 or 3 games in a row. Then you're back to a very inconsistent team. And you can see when this team either isn't buying in or they're not giving effort, because they'll lose 2 or 3 and they'll win 3 or 4 and they'll look like gangbusters. And like you and I have both talked about, when they play their game and guys give 100% every game, they can beat anybody in this league and they can beat them handily. It's no question in my mind. But when they don't play that perfect style of game, everybody gets lost in the shuffle and they don't know what each other's doing.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that. Someone said Tank was glued to the boards. I didn't see that so much. I thought Tank, be honest, I didn't hear his name a lot. I mean, he got some shots off in the first.
Well, here's the thing. If he's covering a guy and he's already in the boards with him, what do you want him to do? Just skate away from him because he's supposed to be out there scoring? No, he's got an assignment. He's got a defensive assignment, even though he's a forward, on what area of the ice to be in. And if there's somebody in that area and they're up against the boards, he is supposed to go up and challenge them for the puck.
All right, I seen that. Where's the leadership? That's kind of a good question, because I didn't see it out on the ice tonight. That's for sure. I don't think Neal is cutting it. I'd rather see Joshua Walker in the lineup than him. I'll agree with you there. I wouldn't mind letting Walker come back up. I wouldn't mind Joshua coming back up. I thought Neal was going to be some of that leadership. I just didn't see it.
He's never been a leader. He's always, and no matter whether he's been with Edmonton, whether he's been with the Predators, he's that guy that when he's good, he's really good. But if you talk to people that he was with in Edmonton, he looked great. He looked like, as people call him, the real deal James Neal. And people were saying, oh, put him with O'Reilly. He's a 60, 70 point guy. And I kept saying, no, he hasn't been a 60 point guy in years. And he even played with McDavid. And he's a guy that some games you're going to be calling his name all game long. But he's also a guy that for games you're going to go, was James Neal out there at all?
Yeah, so I want to address Jeff Horseman's. He's talking about Tarasenko. He says he used to cut in on the power play and top shelf it. Well, if you notice, every time that he's in that area, when he gets the puck, they are collapsing. They know that's what he does. They collapsed in on him, and that's why he's not getting top shelf. The thing with Tarasenko, they're going to give him that beyond the circle shot. They're going to give it to him. But when he gets in the circle and right on the edge of the circle towards the net, you're going to have 2 or 3 guys around him every single time. Because that's his bread and butter. And every team knows that's his bread and butter. Yeah. Right. Ryan Green says he went to the Anaheim game, and when the game was over, a Ducks fan leaned over and said, Neal is a curse. Well, I mean, he did go to the Stanley Cup Finals with the Knights in their first year.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, and Jose, you're dead on. Right. Absolutely. And Dallas from the onset. I mean, we looked at the first period, and I think it surprised us a little bit. But in the first, the Blues looked okay.
Yeah, they did.
But then come the second, they just fell apart.
Dallas made adjustments. If you look at the way they played in the first period and you look at the way they played in the second, and the second period, they started pinching those defensemen in a little bit more.
Yep.
But they were also far back enough, if they needed to, they could get out of the offensive zone and back to defensive coverage. But if you noticed, even last year, a lot of these teams are pinching in on the Blues. Yeah. And there's a reason for it. It's because teams are having success pinching in.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. They just now re-showed that. It hit his glove. It should have been a no goal.
Hit right off by his finger on the top part of his glove.
Oh, it hit the white. The white of the glove.
Yeah, but I'm saying his thumb is right. His thumb is like right, not his thumb. It was his pinky finger, and it hit like right in here.
Yeah, it hit
it
right.
Barely hit.
Right. Goal cannot be scored by an attacking player who bats or directs the puck in with his hand in the net, directs the puck or deflect it into the net off any player.
I can tell you right now, the league didn't see it as a true deflection.
When the puck enters the net on a clear deflection off a glove, goal shall be allowed.
Yeah,
but batted at it.
Yeah,
batted at it. It should have been. I don't know. It's a hard one.
Well, I mean, even if they wouldn't have counted it, and people might say, well, the Blues could have come back and won. They weren't playing like a team that was going to win. They were going to need the Blues, the way they played tonight. They played, I thought, very good in the first period, as we discussed after the first intermission. But the way they played in the second and third period, taking that goal away, I really don't think would have helped them any.
No, well, it changes the way you play. I mean, it does change the way you play, but it keeps them.
It might and it should, but we've seen this team play the same way no matter what happens. So
that's true. I watched tonight's game, one of those games where I look at it and I go, no game plan. It didn't feel like there was a game plan tonight, because if there was one, what was it? Because it certainly wasn't get the puck. It wasn't get the puck in deep. It wasn't take good shots. I don't know.
I'm telling you, Berube is like Mike Martz, and I'm not trying to bash him, because look at the success that Mike Martz had with the Rams as their offensive coordinator and their head coach. He had great success for several years, but Berube continues to just, okay, here's our defensive style. This is how we're going to play this game defensively. And that's what he does. They're going to get their opportunities off of defense. I honestly, I can't prove this, but from watching them play, it does not look like he ever has a game plan besides a defense first. Let's be strong on the defensive end. Let's get the puck out of our own zone. Let's forecheck. Because every game, whether they win or lose, it looks like the same game plan.
Yeah,
and I'm not bashing him. Like I said, there's coaches that are very successful with that.
No, he's talking about Kyrou. He says Kyrou's worst game of the season. I thought he was everywhere. I thought he was everywhere tonight.
He was all over the place.
He looks like I disagree there.
No, it's the same thing, guy. These people are still wanting Kyrou and Thomas traded, and they'll never get over it, no matter what he does. I mean, he's in the top 3 in scoring, I believe, on our team. I never noticed him being sluggish or being slow to any play. I thought he was giving his all 100%, and I don't think anybody should question Kyrou's.
No, Kyrou was by far the one that was out there doing the most.
Yeah, and you know who else? You know who else was? And kept getting tripped and getting penalties called for the Blues. Costin was all over the ice, and he was causing those guys to trip him and knock him over and interfere with him because of his speed.
It's nice to see him get penalties called on him and not against him.
Yeah,
right. I'll tell you who got schooled tonight was Thomas. Now Thomas got schooled in the faceoff circle. I don't know what his faceoff percentage was, but it had to be poor. It had to be poor. He got schooled in the faceoff center, and we, 37-23, and that's them with the 37. They just schooled the Blues tonight. And you know what? Here's the thing: it's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. You're going to lose to teams that you should beat. And Jose says there was no backup plan. There was no plan or backup plan for zone entry. Yeah. I agree. They just kept trying to come into the zone, and Dallas was ready for him every single time. When a team plays you that aggressive, and you were a goalie, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. When a team plays you that aggressive, you need to be aggressive back, because somebody's going to make a mistake. Well, you made the mistake because you weren't aggressive with them. They were timid. And because they were timid, they kept making mistakes. You have to meet aggressiveness with aggressiveness.
Yeah, you don't always want the goalie playing the puck, but if he's good like Bennington is, anytime they get that puck in there and there's nobody close to him and it's safe for him to come out and play it, he can stop so much pressure just by getting that puck out of the zone or getting it to somebody close to the blue line, and that just causes Dallas to skate back even more and wears them out even more. A good goaltender that can handle the puck well can really wear a team out coming in and out of the zone. And I didn't think he was bad tonight. I just think Dallas beat the Blues to a lot of pucks.
Yeah, they did. And that's the thing. Once they got 3, they played the trap, and the Blues suck against the trap. That's true. But it wasn't just that. A lot of dump and chase, but Dallas was already back for the puck. Yeah, I've seen that. Also, first of all, you kind of you hit on something. That Bennington is very good playing the puck.
Yeah, he is.
He's a good puck handler. But for some reason, they've coached that out of him. He's become a not good puck handler. He needs to handle the puck. He needs to do that better. He is good back there with the puck. And you know what? You look at Grant Fuhr. You look at Martin Brodeur.
Dominic Hasek was good at it.
Hasek was good at it. You got to. There's 6 guys on the ice, not 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not just the goalie's job to stop the puck. He's a quarterback. He needs to be directing traffic. He needs to be letting them know where they're at. He needs to make make short dumps up the ice. Right? You're right. He needs to be doing that, and or even slow the play.
Yeah, and
I didn't.
What's frustrating is he's done it some games this year and then other games. And I will tell you, as a goalie, when you're good at something and you're not doing anything wrong and it's helping your team out by getting that puck, close to the goal and getting it to somebody quickly, get it out of the zone quickly, you feel more confident too. And it gets you more in a rhythm of the game. But then if your coach is telling you, hey, don't handle that puck so much, we got some good defensemen that'll get back there and get you. Then you're sitting there in the crease and the puck starts coming towards you and you're thinking, do I get it? Do I not get it? You're getting mixed messages there. And if I was the goalie, I'd just go ahead and get it. And I would deal with the coach yelling at me later.
Yeah. I just think that I don't think Bennington played bad. Okay. Maybe one of the 3 goals was on him. Okay. I think that deflection, if you really look at, it doesn't like take a sharp, oh my God, turn. It just barely dives down. He should have had that. I'm sorry. He should have had that. Maybe he didn't see it, but he should have had that one, right? In my eyes.
I don't think he saw it because it went through a part of a black jersey. Even if it only goes down a half an inch and you're getting ready to stop it with your glove, let's say he would have grabbed that with his glove, that half an inch makes a huge difference. And that's a tough call. You can look at it and say, yeah, he should have had it. You can look at it and say, that was just a tough one and it went by him. And I don't think either opinion's really right or wrong.
Okay, fair enough. The 2-on-1s, he couldn't have had either one of those.
No.
Right? Yeah, nope. I'm with
that. Because on the first one, I think it was the 2-on-1, he had to play the guy that had the puck. Yep. And once you commit so much and it looks like he's going to shoot it, by the time that pass starts getting over there, even if you can slide across and push off with your best ability on your left pad, if it's up high above your pad, your right pad, it's going to be a goal.
Here's another thing, and Ashley mentioned this in the pregame. The Blues have a pretty good history of making rookie goalies or young goalies or journeyman goalies look like Martin Brodeur and Grant Fuhr out there.
Yep.
Right, and we did it again with Ottinger. I don't know what that is. I think that they start licking their chops and thinking they can just throw it at his stomach and he's going to drop it, right?
Sometimes you kind of fall into that. Hey, he's a young goalie. Hey, he's only played. Let's just put a bunch of pucks on the net. Well, sometimes when you do that, you end up shooting it right in their chest. But other times when you do it, you put enough pucks on the net, he gets rattled, and you get a couple easy ones that maybe shouldn't have went in. There's just a fine line. There's just a definite fine line on it. And people will say people don't aim when they shoot. I'm sorry, but when you've got a wrist shot, you're aiming for a certain specific part of that net. Slap shots, not so much. You're aiming just to get it on net most of the time.
What adjustments need to be made for Vegas? I think it's time to bring Mikkel and Wallman back in. I think Prunevich needs to take a seat. He definitely does not need to be on the power play.
I personally think Bortuzzo needs to take a seat because all he's good for anymore is bad penalties in being out of position. He was out of position so many times, and he was never a fast guy, but you can definitely tell over these last 3 years, he's lost some of his speed because he's getting older. I think it's time to give him less minutes, and I'm fine with having Prinovic in there, but I don't think he should be one of the top pairings personally.
Yeah, no, me either. Well, I don't mind him being with Falk. And the reason I think, well, here's the problem. Horseman says that Scandella should be gone. He won't be. Not for $3 million. You're not gonna.
No, definitely not for $3 million. And there was 2 or 3 times tonight that he made plays that kept the puck out of the net.
Yeah.
And he may make some bad plays. He's not a top 4 goal defenseman, but he's a good number 5 or 6 defenseman. He is, and people may hate him for that. And he does make mistakes, but if you really watch him, a lot of times he will make some good plays. Is he perfect? No, he's not perfect. And the reason, and that's why he's just $3 million.
Yeah, no, but you're not sitting $3 million. You're not putting $3 million in the press box.
Nope.
And
if you do, it's one game and that's it.
Yeah, one game and that's it. Bortuzzo, I think you can sit Bortuzzo. You don't have a forward to sit, and that's kind of the thing. I liked Costin's play tonight.
I did too.
Okay, so if you want to, Jose says I think Bortuzzo's been playing well, but agree that he needs a break. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, the thing about Costin, before you get into it, my opinion, in most of his games, he's where the puck is, and that's a good thing. A guy that has the puck sense and knows where it's at. And tonight he drew penalties. Man, guys. If you're a player that can draw penalties, do you remember Upshaw, Scotty Upshaw?
Yeah.
He knew how to draw penalties. And guys would trip him all the time just because of his speed. Older guy, but had great above average speed. He would get tripped all the time, or he'd get interfered with all the time. And hey, if Costin only scores 10 goals this year and has 8 assists, but causes people to trip him, I'll take that any year.
Yeah, well, prior to this season, you go look at his penalty minutes, and they're high for a guy that doesn't play a lot, especially for down when he was in the AHL, they were high.
Yeah.
Right?
He's learned to kind of calm his temper down. He's
calmed it down some, but in the KHL, his penalties were high.
Oh, it was nuts in the KHL. He just went crazy, and that he was fighting almost every game.
Yeah. So, but here he's reined some of that back.
Yeah, he has.
And tonight, his speed, which he was able to start in the showcase. And this is the one thing. Oh, Costin, Bozak, and Thomas. You know what? I would love to see that, because you could put my Spitsna line together. I guarantee. I'm sorry. I know what I know about hockey, and I've just seen those guys when they get on there together. If you put Barbashev, Tereshchenko, and Bushnevich on a line together, they're going to click, and they're going to click fast.
Well, we've already seen Barbashev and Tarasenko click pretty dang well.
Right.
I mean,
exactly. And then
Barbashev
also clicked.
Yeah.
Barbashev was on a line with Bushnevich for a while this season, and he clicked there. It's telling me that and I won't say who it was, but a former Blues player told me that you couldn't make that line work because Barbashev wasn't ready for that, and Tereshchenko was too lazy.
Barbashev has played long enough in this league to be ready for anything that Berube gives him. Tarasenko, I'm going to tell you something about a lot of guys with talent, and Tarasenko's got better speed, and it's not top end speed, it's that quickness.
Yes,
he's well above average speed. He's well above average speed, but it's that quick turn. He takes that turn with one leg and starts skating, and he's gone. He's just quick. And to say he's lazy, he's a big body. He's 6'3", 220, 225. And just like a big guy like Chris Pronger, who is much bigger, everybody used to tell me Pronger looks lazy. His stride is slow. But when you saw him play, that man was damn fast. And Tarasenko's fast. It's just that he's bigger and he's got them wider strides that make him look slower.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I just think chemistry is slightly off. Ashley, you're welcome to come on. The chemistry slightly off. It's not way off. Now, this team is not in a bad shape. Okay.
No.
Right. They're not in a bad shape. This is not a good loss. So that's for sure. Okay. Not a good loss.
Hey, guy. If this was 70 games in, and they were playing like they have the last 5 games and lost most of them, I'd be concerned. But guys, there's plenty of games left to fix certain things. You just don't want to get into the habit of playing the way they did tonight and making the same mistakes. Because once you get in that habit, it's a downhill roller coaster and it's hard to get out of it. I didn't think Sunquist was really bad. I mean,
I didn't think Sonny was. He wasn't super bad, but he wasn't good either.
It's only his second game back.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm not harping on him too much.
Barbashev is not good enough to be on a number one line. Not as a center, he's not.
No, I see him as a second. I can see him as a
at best he's center. A second line player, but most likely his niche in the NHL and with the Blues is a third line player, is where he should play most of his minutes.
I think he'd be all right on the second, but not the top.
Yeah, I would go with the second, especially if you put him with Bushnevich and Tarasenko. Yeah. Okay, because that's enough. That's enough right there to cover any shortcoming might have. I'll tell you, his biggest shortcoming is his faceoffs. Mm-hmm. Right, that's his biggest shortcomings. But at the same time, I think with that shortcoming, that's something that you can learn and get better at.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to see Bozak and Thomas on the same line, because they're going to put Bozak at center and Thomas on wing. I don't want Thomas on wing because he's going to continue to try to be the playmaker. That's what's in his head. That's what he's played for 95% of his career. And now Bozak has played some forward for the Blues. If you want to put Thomas on as forward and Bozak on as a wing, I wouldn't have as much, issue with it, but it's not the ultimate solution in my mind.
Well, someone's fish Barbashev died. They're going to have a memorial service tomorrow. So rest in peace to Barbashev.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. You watch games like this, and unfortunately, I have O'Reilly's on right now, but I don't have my headphones on enough for me to hear what he's saying. So, when you see games like this, one of the things that you have to really look at is start to finish. Mm-hmm. What went wrong where, and was an adjustment made? Well, what went wrong right away was faceoffs. Mm-hmm. We were behind in faceoffs from the get-go, and they didn't make an adjustment. So if you don't make if you see all of this and you're not making line changes, what's going on? Now, I know some people are going to sit there and blame the refs for blowing the whistles. I don't think any of the penalties that they called were a bad penalty. Some of them were ticky-tack, but they were not a bad penalty. Only one, the closest penalty that I saw called that I would have said, I don't know about that, was Krug's.
Yeah.
Right? Because Pavelski was going down before Krug got there. Right? So to call that interference to me was
I also had an issue with the Tarasenko penalty.
I think it was just ticky-tacky more than anything else. Not that it wasn't like for me, Krug's was not a penalty, right? Because he was going down. But Tarasenko's is okay. If you want to call that, you can call that, but just make sure you call it all through the game. But for the most part, I thought they called a fair game. I think they called, penalties on both sides. There was a bunch of penalty minutes. When you get that, I don't think there was a 5-on-5 goal, was there? No, there was not a 5-on-5 goal. No, right? There was not a well. The only thing you could call the 5-on-5 was the empty netter.
Oh, that was actually 6-on-5.
6-on-5, but it's considered an even strength goal.
Yeah, the Blues special teams were
lacking.
Well, actually, so the penalty kill wasn't that bad. The penalty kill really wasn't that bad. The penalty kill was 1 for 5, I think. It was the power play, and it was that second power play. It was the second power play unit that had both goals scored against, both shorthanded goals scored against them. It was the second unit that really didn't get any type of cycle going on. Yeah. They didn't get any entry going on. That second unit was discombobulated. And I'm sorry, you put a rookie as a quarterback of an NHL second unit in his third game.
I said it in that second intermission. You shouldn't have Perunovic on a power play.
Well, another thing is this: even though Dallas the Blues, 1 for 5 on the penalty kill. Even though they were just 1 for 5, there were a lot of opportunities right in front of Bennington where the puck was right there, and there was 3 or 4 stars there. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that 1 for 5 is really indicative of how bad the Blues really played, because there was a lot of opportunities that Dallas got on those power plays, and I keep seeing it again after this win. We need to start Ville Husso and the Blues Lounge, and the Blues. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. People in the Blues Lounge are idiots. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. You guys are 9 out of 10 of you do not know hockey, and Ville Husso right now is not a number 1 goalie, and there's no goalie controversy in St. Louis. Bennington is the number 1. Husso is the backup.
I agree with that. However, with the 2 games coming up, I would not mind starting Husso 1, Bennington 1.
Well, that's what they're probably going to do anyway.
Yeah, right? No, I don't have a problem with that, but it's not a necessarily we're going to start Ville over Bennington because Bennington played bad situation. It's the schedule situation.
Yeah, I think. Well, I also think that you look at what Bennington's played. He's played all but 3 games, 4 games, right? You're coming up on 16, 17 games in the season, and he's played all but 4. That right away. What was my biggest concern with Winnipeg? Remember when we talked about that? I said, Winnipeg, you cannot have your goalie start that many games. It's just Grant. You can't Grant Fuhr it anymore. The style of game has changed. The amount of shots you face, the style of shots you face. You're moving a lot more than what they used to. They were more of stay-at-home goalies. They weren't flashing around. You go watch a lot of games from back then, you see Fuhr not moving a lot. He didn't move a lot. He wasn't as active as these guys are. It's time. It's time to break it up a little bit, give Bennington a little more rest, let Husso play a little more. I don't have problems with Husso playing a little more, but I'd like to see right now. And not only that, let the team know that there's everyone needs to play better.
Yeah, and in my mind, if I was a head coach of an NHL team, WHL team, whatever, if I had a good goalie and a pretty good backup, I would probably start my number 1 goalie 55 to 60 games, and then my other goalie would get 22 to 27 games. That way, you're not overstressing your number 1. You're giving your number 2 enough play to keep him fresh in case he is needed in the playoffs, or you're getting a long series. And you just have to bring in that second guy, or the guy starts out giving up 2 goals and you got to pull him in the game. I think that's the best way. When you start playing these guys, even 65 games each, and the playoffs come, you're wore out. That goalie is, 5 to 10 games can make a difference between a goalie being wore out for the playoffs and not wore out for the playoffs.
Without Husso on the COVID list, he would have had 5 or 6 games this season. Actually, I don't think. I think he'd be at 4.
He'd be at 4. He'd have had one more game, probably.
I think he would have gotten the 2 games that Hoffer got.
Yep.
Basically, I don't think that they would have changed that schedule. I think that's what he would have gotten. It's not that Bennington's playing bad. He's not playing bad. Okay, I'm not saying that he's playing bad, but all I'm saying is that right now, whether it's the defense not playing, whether there's the mistake, it's when he's in net, the defense. It's the Allen situation, right? When Allen was in net, for some reason the defense just didn't trust him. Things went awry, and next thing you know, there's all these mistakes and there's these goals.
And you know what? And I know Jake Allen never did this because I know someone in the locker room. If I was him and I was the backup goalie or the number 1 goalie, and all of a sudden my team didn't have confidence in me, and I was out there, working my butt off, and you could, the team can see how well he's playing, and they were still losing because they didn't play well in front of him, I'd call him out. I'd get up in the locker room and call him out. I'd say, what's the issue? You play better when he's in the crease and you play worse when I am. What have I done? You let me know. If I'm playing bad, you let me know and I'll make it better. Sometimes you got to do that, but Jake Allen's kind of soft spoken, and
I'll tell you what, I think Bennington needs to go into the locker room and do that.
Yeah, because you know what? In my mind, Bennington played well enough tonight to win this game. The score doesn't look like it, but he saved them. It could have been much worse if not for some of his saves.
You know what? I'll agree with you on this. I'll agree with you that overall he played well enough to win this game.
Yeah, he did.
Right? Yep. The defense allowed way too many shots. There was
too many guys in front of the net.
Talk over you.
Yeah, there's too many guys.
No. It was Lance.
There's too many guys in front of the net. Too many shots, too many guys in front of the net, too many odd man rushes, too many times that Stars players got the puck on the boards and nobody was there with the Blues to stop them from coming out and having a shot on Bennington. I'm sorry about that.
No. The one thing that I saw tonight that I don't think, and I've talked about this before, and I saw it a little bit with Kyrou tonight, and I saw it with Kostin tonight. They both outskated their coverage. Outkicked their coverage. And that's something that both of them need to learn. They have great speed. They don't play on the same lines, but the guys that are playing with them don't have the speed that they have. There was a couple times Kostin was all the way down there and nobody was even across the blue line yet. Right? Well, at that point, that's just wasting all of that Kyrou speed.
Yeah, and you know what else it wastes? It makes you more tired towards the end of the game. And a lot of young, fast players, they go out 100%. And after you've played in the league a few years, you don't learn how to be lazy, but you learn how to use your speed in better situations, when to use it, when not to use it, so on and so forth. And I know that sounds stupid, but you tend to learn more. And that's, people say, well, Tarasenko was a good 4 steps faster when he was a rookie. He was probably a little faster, but some of that he's learned that you can't be out there just skating all over the ice with like a chicken with your head cut off, because by the end of the game, you're going to be wore out. There's a time for you to really show your speed. And there's a time when you show what speed is necessary to make a play on the puck.
Ryan, I think he needs to in the locker room, right? If he's got that, he's got that attitude. He needs to walk in the locker room and say, okay, guys, what's up? Just let me know what's up. It just seems, is it that you trust me too much? Is it not you trusting me? What's going on? Because it just seems like I get hung out to dry a little bit more than I should. And we need to play, we need to figure this out as a team. One thing with Bennington that I have noticed, and this has been since he's been here, not a great practice guy. He's not a guy that stays late. He's not a guy that helps out. He's never been that guy. And I think he needs to be that guy.
Well, I will tell you from reading his lips when I can see them, after a goal scored and he skates away from the net and does his little skate around, or during a commercial break, there's been several times Blues players have skated by him, and I can tell by the look in his eyes, and I can't necessarily tell what he's saying, but those players, as they're skating by him, will say something back to him. And I'm sure it's not something super positive sometimes. He's letting them know, hey, you guys are leaving me out here high to dry, and goalies do that. I've done it. Every goalie has done that.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of kicks a guy in a butt a little bit if you do it in the right way. And I know he does it on the ice, but like Guy said, I don't think he does it within the locker room, because I think he believes that Ryan O'Reilly and other veterans are the leaders. But and I'd have no problem. Hey, if you spend just the amount of time you're supposed to in net and you're still very good, yeah, that's fine. But if you want to set an example for the team, stay an extra 30 minutes. Stay out there with Ryan O'Reilly, who's out there 30 minutes to an hour after every practice. Be in goal there for him. Do something. And, too much practice never hurt anybody. It doesn't make you worse.
Yeah, I agree. I said that after Tuesday. I was 5 rows from him. Yeah, I remember you talking about that, Chris. I remember you talking about that, about him chipping and chapping. And also, I don't know, did you guys see today, Tarasenko was talking, I didn't see who it was. He was drawing a play up on the back of Thomas, right? He was drawing a play up on the back of Thomas. So, that all of that Tarasenko stuff. I don't know if you've seen the stream I'm in on Twitter with Bobby Schley, I think it is, who's a Rangers or an Islanders fan, and keep thinking that and keep saying all the Islanders are proposing all these trades, and it's fans, not fan trades, not that. But I don't think Tarasenko's going anywhere. I think all of that shit was blown way out of proportion.
I agree.
And,
he's going somewhere. He'll go somewhere before his contract is up here.
I can see it in the offseason. I can see it in the offseason. I don't see it this season.
The only way he's going this season is if he's, let's say in February, he's at 32 goals and 25 assists, and the Blues are 12 points out of a playoff spot. You might see him go. Otherwise, it's going to be in the offseason or the 2022-2023 trade deadline.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, you don't know. At the same time, next season is this season. First of all, I've said this from the get-go. We have a lame duck coach, and I was worried about it from the get-go, and I'm still worried about it. They need to settle that situation right here and right now. Well, if you're going to re-sign him.
Yeah, the only way they're going to do that is if they actually want to re-sign him. I think if they wanted to re-sign him, it's going to happen before the end of December. If he's not signed before the end of December, I don't think they have any plans of bringing him back.
And I got it. It will be weird seeing another jersey with Tarasenko on. Oh, I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, he's been synonymous with the Blues. And like when Pietrangelo left, it was like, okay, no problem. I can see it. I get it. Tarasenko's Hull, like when Hull left, right? And then not compare. I'm just saying that he's got that same connection, right, with the fans and all that. When he left, seeing him in the Dallas Hull jersey didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Seeing him in the Detroit jersy.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that was I didn't mind Dallas as much as Detroit, but what's funny was when Pietrangelo signed with the Golden Knights for the first 10 games I watched the Knights, I kept looking for number 27. Yeah. Like, where's 27? That's not Pietrangelo. And I'm like, oh, he's number 7.
Yeah. I know that was it.
Because we're so used to seeing him wearing 27.
Yeah.
No, see, for me, the one thing that I think of, and maybe you guys have seen this on Facebook or whatever. Brendan Shanahan tells this story. Detroit is playing the Avalanche, and they've got the guy that was on Detroit, and I can't think of his name now.
Sakic.
And Sean Avery was on Detroit, and he went to say something to him, and Hull grabbed him by the collar, sat him down, and says, "You don't say anything to Mr. whoever it
Sakic.
was."
It was Joe Sakic.
Joe Sakic. Yeah, you don't say anything to Mr. Sakic, right? I mean, he just had that respect, and it went both ways. And that's the one thing that I think is missing from this team right now is that respect style leadership. Now, I got nothing against O'Reilly. Okay, when he won the Conn Smythe, I actually believed he won it. When he won the Selke, I knew he deserved it. He won the King. I think he won the King Clancy too that year, or no, I don't. I think he was nominated for it. He was nominated for it, but didn't win it. He had that year, but he's not the all this. It's on me. It's on me. It's growing old.
Yeah, and you know what gets me? You're talking about respect, guys. It used to be you didn't hurt a guy intentionally because you knew that could affect his career. You didn't go in to take a guy's head out. You went out to hit him hard. If you hit him in the head, you hit him in the head. But if you went in to hit him hard, you didn't do it to disrespect the game and disrespect him as a hockey player, because just like you, he's trying to earn a living. And I think a lot of players today don't look at other players that way. Sure, when they hit him, they're there and they're hoping they're okay and all that, but they don't have that respect for the elders of the game that have paved the way for these young players to make these $9, $10, $11 million a year salaries. The Gretzkys, the Hulls, the Sakics, and the other guys, Lemieux, Yager, they paved the way for these guys. And even some of the older guys today, they don't have that respect, and that's one thing to me that I think is missing with the game. Hit a guy, by all means, play hard. I don't care who he is, but don't intentionally go out and try to destroy his livelihood.
I absolutely agree with that. Well, guys, we're coming right up on the 45-minute mark, and We still got a few people watching, so maybe we'll go a little bit longer. We're still watching your comments. And Chocolate says Hull didn't wear 16 in Dallas for a bit. That's right. I think he wore 14?
22.
22. Okay.
Yep, 22 in Dallas.
Wilson and Kadri are the only players I've absolutely no respect for.
Subban's getting there for me too.
Subban's getting there, and Marchand.
I've never had respect for that man from the day he was a rookie.
Marchand?
Yeah, and PK Subban, these incidents of him slew-footing people, it's not the first time he's done it in his career. He did it in Montreal. He did it in Nashville several times. Yeah. And then he tries to say, I didn't do it. I was just, no. If it happens too many times, you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, it's something that snuck in. He said it's something that snuck into my game. I don't know how it got there. Well, because you kept doing it.
If you don't know how it got there, then you maybe need to stop playing the game.
Yeah.
No, Marchand, I have no respect for Marchand as a person. My issue with Marchand, and me and Ashley talked about this last night. My issue with Marchand is that he's got all the skill in the world. He doesn't need to do any of the other stuff.
He doesn't need to do them cross checks after the call and look around to see if a ref's watching him and hit a guy in the back of his head. He doesn't need to do that. That's what I don't get.
The knee-to-knee hits, the targeting of the knees and the things like that.
You know who he's like, and Ashley will get this, and you will too, Guy. He's like your little kid that's about 18 months old, 14 months old, and they keep wanting to stick their finger in the light socket, and you slap their hand and they cry. And then you look over 5 minutes later and they're cringing because they know they're going to get slapped, but they still stick their finger in the light socket.
Yeah.
That's Marchand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. For me right now, the one thing that I want to see the Blues have is come out and play with attitude. The thing that they did the first part of the season, even when they play bad. So the first 5 games that they won all, weren't as bad as the 6 games where they lost some of them, right? They played, the 1-goal game against Edmonton was not that bad. The 1-goal game against Carolina, not that bad. The game against Phoenix, Arizona was, not to be desired. But other games, the Winnipeg game, the other games that they played, it's okay. This is good hockey. We just need that little extra to win it. But then we get in today's game, and this.
It's terrible.
I know you can't win every game. I get that, but you got to win the games that you're supposed to win, and this is a game that you were supposed to win.
Regardless of winning or losing, you have to play a full 60 minutes. If you play a full 60 minutes and you play your best and lose, hey, hats off to the team that beat you. Same thing with the Blues. If the Blues play a great 60 minutes and the other team played a good 60 minutes and the Blues won, hats off to you. You played great. It's being consistent. And I will call the Edmonton game bad because they gave up that late first period goal to McDavid and then the late goal in the game. To me, but the rest of the game was really good. It was a really good game. But it's about consistency, cut down on your mistakes, and play 60 minutes. If you do that, even if you're somewhat talented, you're going to win a decent amount of games. The Blues, and people are going to argue with me, they're going to say they're not talented. The Blues are a very talented team because when they play their game, they can beat anyone and they can beat anyone handily.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. And I agree with that. I think that they have the team and they have the hi, Allie.
Guy says hi.
I heard her. They have the I said this last year when everybody was saying we don't have the talent to match up with Colorado. We don't have the talent to match up with the Knights, and we don't have the talent to. No, we did have the talent. It wasn't used right.
And we still have the talent. It's
have
just
the talent, and it's being used better, but it's not gelling yet. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that's got to happen. And that the gelling of a team is on the coach.
Yeah, and when a team's consistent and does things right, even if they lose 5-4, 4-3, other teams know that team's consistent, and they know that team's going to be giving them 60 minutes of hard play, whether they win or lose. And if you start getting a reputation as a team, because years ago, remember everybody, even Gretzky in the 80s would say, I hate playing the Blues. I think it was Joey Mullen or Gilmore always played against him defensively. And he says, I hate playing against those guys. He said, because I know they're going to give it all out. and we may score 6 goals, but they may score 6 goals or whatever. And you start getting respect around the league like that, guys aren't going to take you lightly, and they're going to expect a hard game from you. And that's the kind of reputation you want. You want a reputation of, okay, the Blues are coming in town. Oh my God, we're going to get checked to death. We're going to get forechecked to death. They're going to put so much pressure on our goalie. They're a great transition team. And right now we don't have all those things melding together. They're up and down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You just brought something in. What a great segue. So, I interviewed the guy that was the goalie, and his name just went right off my tongue. Yvonne Barrett, the guy that was the goalie from Slapshot.
Yeah.
Doing some searching, doing some looking around on Facebook, I found out a guy that played in the ECHL, played in that league during the period that Slapshot was written. He also was a PGA golfer.
Yeah.
Right. A pro golfer on the Canadian tour, the Australian tour, and one other tour. I forget what it was. One of the Asian tours, I think. Going to come on. Right. We're going to do it. I got to get with Ashley. We're going to do, I don't know if we're going to do a live interview yet or a recorded interview.
Hey, Guy.
Yeah.
Could you tell me what is slashing? Slashing is when you take your stick and you go like this. And what about tripping? And you go to and he says, and you go to the penalty box for 2 minutes and you don't feel so good.
Yeah, you feel bad.
You feel bad.
And it's okay. Yeah, no, he talked about that. He talked about that in the interview. It was so neat. Yvonne was a great interview. He was a fun interview. But so I'm getting some stuff set up. We might have some really good interviews coming up here. I'm hoping for. We got the game on Monday. Now Monday you might just get Ashley. Ashley, you can try tomorrow is to see if you can get into the StreamYard that I sent you.
Yeah.
Made you an admin, so you should be able, I think, to show my stuff.
Okay.
Right, to share to my pages and that.
Mm-hmm.
I think. If not, let me know. You can always do a test. That's fine. We'll try and figure it out. I have an MRI or not an MRI, a CAT scan on Monday at 12:30
He's getting his CAT
my time.
scanned.
Yeah, and getting my CAT
You know what
scan.
they're going to find? His bones have grown back in the shape of a Blues logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that would not surprise me one bit. Lance, before we go, I just got to say to you, you and me talked about something last night, and our heart goes out to you. I'm not gonna say any more than that. I know what you're going through, buddy. My heart goes out to you, and if you need anything, do let us know. Okay.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Right. You let us know, and you let me. You have a home on the Fan Report. Okay.
Absolutely.
You always have, no matter what you're in, no matter what you want, you have a home on the Fan Report. You are welcome here anytime. I send you a link, even though I know you said you couldn't do it. I send you the link anyways. Doesn't mean you have to be on, but you're always welcome to be on.
I appreciate your kindness and your friendship, and Ashley, the same goes to you. And I know if I ever needed you guys for anything, you'd be there to help. So those words really mean a lot and touch my heart. I greatly appreciate that.
When I first started this, a lot of people told me to stop. You were the only one. You were one of the very, very few, especially that were in this, that said you have something. You're actually good at this. Don't stop. Right? You encouraged me when I wasn't getting views, when I wasn't getting followers, when all the crap came up. You continually encouraged me to do this. And you continually made me, when I've wanted to quit, all I've thought about is, man, well, Lance is going to be disheartened, and Lance will not be happy with me if I quit. I got to keep soldiering on, just like Chris. Right? We give you crap. Soldier gives wounded soldiers crap to let you know that they'll be okay, and that's exactly what we're here for, Lance. And I just want you to know that what you're going through. I don't wish it. Well, I might wish it on a few of my worst enemies, but I don't wish it, on anybody. And see, I should give myself one of these. That was actually a pretty good one, right?
That was a good one.
Hey, I'm getting them every now and then. Now I'm playing buttons again.
Yeah.
Buttons.
Yeah.
It's like I told you, you have fun doing it. People can see it, and you'll get better the more you do it. And anybody that goes back and watches you from the beginning see that you had something. It just needed to be tweaked, and you get more experience. I mean, it took me a little bit, to get used to be talking on just a 20, 30-minute audio podcast because I'm by myself. It's harder than heck to do. And
it's so hard.
it's because you got to sit there, and you can't really have a script. You can have key points. If you have a script, people can tell. And Guy learned that real early. If you have a script, they can tell you're reading off that script and it's not sincere. But yeah, Guy, like I said, you just kept working at it. And, do it for the fans, but mainly do it for yourself, because to me, it's therapy, no matter what you need therapy for. And it really helps you get through things. But thank you for those kind words to both you guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, all the time, Lance. I just wanted you to know that we're here for you. Okay?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And that you brighten up the show. You brighten it up. No matter what. I know that you've had some issues with people that have been on this show. I don't care. I honestly don't care, because when it comes down to it, I said this before, and I absolutely mean this. If you want to know who your real friends are, relapse. And when I've had issues, never walked away. Yeah, you've never walked away. You've been there, and you're right, like Ryan Green says. And the real viewers are always here, and that's right, and that's what's important.
Yeah, and I've told you that there's been people on the show I didn't like or trust, and some of my opinions ended up being very true. But it was your show, and I told you, as long as they're on your show and I'm on there, I'll be respectful and be kind and nice, and I'll be professional. And I think that's all we can do. We're not going to get along with everybody. That's not the way this world is.
Oh no, not
at all. But if
we
treat everybody the way that we want to be treated, everything is fine.
And that's what I've tried to do. Yeah. And Ashley, I got to thank you a lot. For when everybody left, you were the first one that jumped back. You came in. Okay, I'll be your co-host. You jumped in, and you've done a great job filling in.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that I left you hung out to dry while I was moving, but
it's all right.
I actually think that was probably the best thing for you.
Yeah, I learned a lot from it, and I learned a lot also from Lance. Lance is really inspirational with his knowledge, and even whenever I felt like I didn't do very well, he was in there saying, "Hey, you did good," and then I felt better.
Yeah, no,
I meant it. I don't just blow smoke up people's butts, but yeah, you loved the hockey. You had the passion at the beginning, and you've learned, and you're a lot more comfortable, and you don't mind interrupting Guy and myself, and I think that's great.
Well, I mean, that's what helps the most.
Yeah. Sometimes I gotta, but I mean, there's a lot of times when you guys are on here, and I'm just in awe at Lance's knowledge that I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna listen.
Yeah, and I don't know if
she knows I don't know shit.
When I'm talking, and I can tell you're either liking what I'm saying or you want to get something to say, because I've read your face pretty well, and I can see your face, and I'm like, she either likes what I'm saying or she's dying to say something. So I'll go, Ashley, did you have something to add?
Yeah.
Right. No, it's been, guys, it's a lot of fun.
You guys are all great, and I love you both, and I appreciate your kind words.
Yep. No show tomorrow. We have a show on Monday. I don't know if it's going to be me and Ashley or just Ashley for at least the pregame. I'm hoping that my CT scan won't last that long. I'm not sure if I got to take the nuclear Kool-Aid for that or not. That's on my hand.
Oh, they've actually changed that. When I had a recent MRI, I asked them if it was still the radioisotopes.
Yeah.
And they said, no, they don't use those anymore. Most MRI and CT scan places use something different. It's not as bad for you as the other stuff. So hopefully you don't start glowing yellow on the vlogs Monday. So
yeah. Well, I'm pretty used to that. So, but the thing about it, and just as we get ready to go, I just want to say thank you to everybody. You guys are really starting to follow the show, and you're following what we say. And, I could be one of these who goes, share it out. I've gotten to the point why, the ones that want to be here are here. Right. And the ones that don't want to be here aren't. And that's what's important. The ones that are here are the ones that make the show, that listen to me, that want, and I'm getting we're getting, and I don't want to say we are getting some books from other hockey podcasts and hockey groups that like what we're doing, right? That are, starting to drink our Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That's I always appreciate fans saying they like a show or a podcast, and that means so much. But when your peers, other podcasts say it, whether it's a podcast that's got 100 following or a podcast that's got 20,000 following, when they say, "Hey, that was a good segment, we really like that," it lets you know you're doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, that's what, and I'll say this: Last Word on Sports is very happy with us.
Good.
And there could be a collaboration / affiliation with them.
Nice.
Right.
Very exciting.
And that's a good one. So guy, I want 100. He barely keeps up with 10. You know what? I've had as many as 250 comments, and I think we do a pretty good job at showing all of them. Now,
we try very hard.
Yeah, I did get a message today from someone, and he said, "Hey, you missed a bunch of comments on YouTube." And I try my best. We try our best. We're not going to get to everybody's comment every time, right? We want you to be part of the show, but also understand that we have topics we want to talk about. We have things that we want to go, and we can't cover everything. But we do our best to make sure that you're as part of the show as we are.
Yeah, I hope that person's watching, because there's even times where I will comment when I'm not on the show, and Guy doesn't talk about my comment or my question. It's just that he's trying to keep a flow going, and he's got a certain topic he wants to be discussed and just doesn't have the time to go off on that. It's not that he's trying to ignore you. He's trying to keep the flow of the show going and certain topics. So he's not ignoring you. He appreciates all of your comments. It's just that he can't get them all on. I don't want anybody to think that they're just being held out, because it happens to me. And I know why Guy doesn't do it. It's because he wants to stick on a topic and get enough said on certain things. So don't sweat it. He doesn't have anything against you.
Yeah, and sometimes they're comments that are pretty much the same as the one before it. Yeah. So we pick the one that we show, and everyone else is just kind of an agreement. So
yeah. And this is a good one.
I like that one, Chris. He should get an applause buttons.
Yeah.
He can't chase all of us nuts.
I thought he was ignoring me. I wouldn't believe it.
Oh, Steven, you're awesome.
Pretty good too.
That is a good one.
Right. Okay, guys, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, for Lance, the Drop Hockey podcast, to Scott and Ashley Shopshot Jones, saying aloha. Mahalo. You got to know that we are all bleeding blue with you. We can't wait for the next show on Monday with either Ashley or myself, depending on how things go. We're taking on the Knights, and maybe we can get Kim Cat with the puppies. Right? So, guys, this is Guy saying aloha, mahalo, and I'll see you all on the next Blue Note Fan Report. Aloha.